Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for High Velocity Radio.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of High Velocity Radio, and this is going to be a fun one. Today we have with us Shahar Erez with Stoke. Welcome.
Hey, Lee. Great to be here. How are you?
I am doing well. I am excited to learn what you're up to. Tell us a little bit about Stoke. How are you serving folks?
We created Stoke to help companies kind of scale up their freelance workforce or tap into the gig economy, if you will. Over the last 2 decades, we're seeing a growing number of people choosing freelancing as their career path, and companies are realizing they need to accommodate more towards this growing portion of workforce with the need for more skills or new skills, the need for flexible budget, the need for flexible projects within the organization. And so we're pretty much living in the era of the rise of the gig economy. And so we built Stoke to help companies better serve their market.
Now, when you say companies, are you talking about enterprise level companies? Are you talking about solopreneurs and freelancers themselves that are just kind of building a team? What does a company look like to you?
It's a great question. A lot of people get confused. So thanks for asking that. So we actually, we're a SaaS platform for the enterprise. When I say enterprise, it's usually mid-market companies with 50 employees up to about 2,000 to 3,000. That's usually where the businesses that we're serving, because these are high-paced businesses. They're constantly onboarding new independent contractors. They need to serve the market very, very quickly, and that's the market we're serving. We help companies with sourcing talent, onboarding talent. We streamline the entire process from how to get all their financial details so you can pay them in time, collecting their tax documents, getting them to sign all relevant legal documents, connecting them to internal organizational systems, tracking their performance for workforce classification purposes, and then being able to actually pay them, assign them projects, track progress, and so forth, all within one platform without having to go through multiple constituents within organization. What we came to see is no one's really owning independent contractors within organization. Employees, we all know HR handles everything that has to do with employees. If you ask any VP HR, CFO, or CEO, how many employees work for the company and how they break out between departments, they know exactly those numbers. Ask anybody in the organization how many independent contractors they have. There isn't a single person in the organization that has a remote idea to how many independent contractors work there. And what we've seen is there's actually a gap of 3 to 5x between what the organization thinks they have to what they actually have working for them. And that creates a gap. And if you don't know how many people you have working for you, you can pretty much rest assured that you're doing something wrong. There's a phrase in the industry right now where we say managing independent contractors is either very expensive because you have to go through legal, finance, accounting, management, so forth, or you're probably doing something illegal. And that's where Stoke comes to help you streamline the process, make it simple and easy, and make sure you're kept compliant across the board.
Now, isn't that one of the challenge when you are offering a service like this to enterprise level? They're so risk averse, and they err sometimes on the side of just let's be compliant and not kind of venture into this world of freelance or contract and just do it through agencies or do it through by hiring the folks. How do you kind of help kind of allay some of that fear to make it easier and more efficient and effective to get these freelancers on board that aren't really employees? They're contract labor, so then they got to play by all the rules of a contractor, which is less training, less, kind of, creating that kind of workforce that you need them to do a certain thing at a certain time. You got to you can't have it both ways.
100%. And, I think there's a few levels there to what you said. Number one, we do run into companies every now and again. It's kind of say, we don't have freelancers. It's not in our DNA. We want to be risk averse. Exactly to your point. What happens then is that a lot of these people, these companies end up having independent contractors, but they're hiding behind the scene. We actually call it shadow HR. As I mentioned, CFOs might say we don't have independent contractors, but actually they do. We actually ran into a company just before their IPO, and their GC said, no independent contractors will work here. It's too risky. And little did he know that one of his director of marketing had 37 independent contractors working for him. But there was one liner there called marketing program dollars. What's hiding behind that one liner in the finance business, no one really knew. but there are freelancers. There isn't a single organization that doesn't deal with independent contractors. Definitely, we want to keep relevant to the pace in which the industry is moving, to the skills that you're looking for. You are working with independent contractors. There's a right and wrong way to do that. By the way, I do have a friend that used to work, I won't say the name of the company, but it's a very large tech company, one of the largest brands that we know, that when he wanted to work with independent contractors, it was so complicated in the organization, he ended up swiping his credit card to pay the independent contractor and submitting it as a travel expense. And so everyone's using independent contractors. The question is, are you recognizing that as a phenomenon? Because the top talent today wants to be independent contractors. That's why there's 3x growth in the number of independent contractors. And then how do you do it right? How do you track them? How do you put in the right bounds and regulations so you don't run into workforce classification issues or tax issues? And to your point, how do you put in the right checkpoints to make sure you're not crossing the line between an independent contractor and an employee? How long have they been working for you? What percentage of work have they been doing for you? Are they working with other clients? Are they advertising themselves as freelancers? Have you given them an email address? Have you given them a laptop? There's a lot of different indicators that might get you into that where they were employees and not independent contractors. But those are managed. They are only managed through a digital platform that tracks it, and that's exactly where we come in. If you're trying to track it manually, there's no way to keep track because it differentiates by state. There's state level rules, there's federal rules, there's IRS, there's DOL, and there's internal company processes. It's not something human beings can track. You need a system that helps you track it.
And like you said, that the rules differ kind of almost city by city, right? And even a state within one state, the rules can be a little different in different counties or cities.
Yeah, we haven't seen that big of a difference within counties. Doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, and we haven't seen it. Usually at the state level, that's what determines kind of who can be an employee and who can be classified as an independent contractor and who cannot. But even that, so it's super complicated, not to mention what happens if you want to go overseas.
So now, walk me through what happens. You start talking to somebody that says, you know what? I didn't realize how many independent contractors we have in this company, which I'm sure that happens a lot, right? Because each department's kind of the Wild West and they don't know how they're classifying and they're all kind of doing their own thing. So at some point, upper management realizes, hey, this is a real thing and we got to kind of put some walls around this and we need help, and Stoke Talent is where we're going to go for help. So you go in there and you have to kind of assess how they're doing things, right? This is almost a change management issue because if everybody's doing it differently, they all think they have their own solution, and now you're kind of implementing a blanket solution.
So the way it usually works is not, we can come in just to do an assessment. That's usually not what we do. Usually it's a company, to your point, that understands they need to gain control. And so they onboard all their independent contractors to Stoke, and all the managers that actually might be hiring independent contractors sign up to Stoke. They invite the independent contractors to sign up. Then we see where are they in the world, which state are they at, how long have they been working together. Then we actually make sure that they're payable and they comply with all KYC regulations. They don't belong to a terror organization, drug cartel, or anything of that sort. And then we run a full audit on them. So a full audit will include things like, how long have you been working for the company? Were you an employee of the company? Did you get equipment from the company or showing up at the office? I mean, again, there's a set of questions. We take that information, we actually push it through an AI engine that we co-developed with Compliance HR and Littler. It's the largest employment law firm in the US. And we get back like a risk analysis that says, hey, this individual is low risk, both on federal and state level, but this person actually does hold a risk on state level because of these three things. And in some cases, we'll be able to offer mitigation. And mitigation might be, work with them instead on an hourly basis, change it to a delivery-based payment method. Or it might be, hey, let's just get this person to have more than a single client. So it really depends. In some cases, we can. There are cases where, you cross the red line and it's too late. You got to make a decision, turn them into an employee or part ways.
Now, what about the other end of you're working with the enterprise level, but what about from the freelance standpoint? Do you do anything to help kind of let the person know, look, it looks like you use a lot of social media marketing people. here's a pile of them. Do you do anything to attract the freelancer, or your service is just strictly around the enterprise organization that hires freelancers?
So our focus is on the enterprises, and the reason that we're focused on the enterprise, because we believe we'll give great service to the enterprise, we'll get the right talent to want to work with us. There's two things that we're providing the freelancers that are working through Stoke that they can't get anywhere else. Number one, we don't charge a dime from the freelancer. They get 100% of their hard-earned money. Unlike a lot of marketplaces that are charging them 5%, 10%, 20% in some cases, whatever they get paid, they get it's full. We're not charging anything from them. B, they get paid quicker. And so at Stoke, we actually are paying multiple times a month to make sure that the freelancers get paid on time and the finance team is not losing the invoices. There's actually a full interface for the freelancer to see where are their invoices, were they approved yet, and actually which date they're going to get paid, and the money will be in their bank or in their PayPal, Payoneer account, however they want to get paid. And we can offer them more jobs if they're looking for, but we only work with enterprises. So usually the companies where they'll find jobs are higher quality, more interesting, longer term, and so forth.
So, if I go to Stoke Talent as a freelancer, is there a place for me to sign up and say I have these skills and I'm looking for work, or is it more that you're working with people and then they're just telling you here's the 100 freelancers that work with us, and then to those 100 you can go, hey, it's in everybody's best interest if you diversify your portfolio of employers. So here, these people are looking for what you can do.
So it's a great question. First of all, it's an invite-only platform that helps us guarantee that we get only the high-quality talent and talent that we either have significant background on or working with one of our clients. Most of our clients, the way it works, are starting by bringing their own talent onto Stoke and working with them. And then when they're in need to hire more, we're actually integrating with a set of marketplaces and boutique agencies, and we'll source more talent for them on demand. We do not have an interface at this point that your random freelancer can just sign up and say, hey, I want to be part of the platform. We're not trying to be a marketplace that has 15 or 20 million freelancers, but only 5 or 10% of them are actually high quality and working. We're trying to keep it to a level where we can guarantee that the freelancers on Stoke have the right background, have been vetted, and you can count on them being in a certain level of quality.
So now it's an interesting time, at least in the United States, when it comes to freelance and this kind of gig economy. Are you seeing, to me, it seems like it should be almost the Wild West, that people are desiring this kind of project lifestyle like you described, that they don't want to be tied down to one employer, but there's a buzz about creating some sort of more, I don't want to say maybe rules and regulations around what that gig employee is and who they are, and there is an employer responsible for them. This push-pull has been going on for some time.
Yep.
Do you think that the trend at some point is going to just release all these people and let them just be the project workers they want to be?
So I think there's a few data points there. First of all, I don't think you can really stop the winds of change. The world is heading towards independent contractor. Bureau of Labor Statistics forecasted that by 2030, 60% of the workforce will be freelancers. And so trying to force that with, odd regulations and legislation, I think is not going to stop the trend. This isn't some scheme by the large corporate saying, hey, let's not pay social benefits and get everybody to be independent contractors. These are the people choosing to be independent contractors. Now, with that said, I think some of the legislations do have a place, but I think we need to start distinguishing, some of the labor laws haven't been updated in a century. And when we say an independent contractor, we kind of look at them all as a one size fits all. We use a very broad brushstroke. There's a very distinct difference between, an Uber driver making $7 or $10 an hour. And those people, I can definitely understand why they need a social safety net, because with $7 or $10 an hour, you cannot get it yourself. But there's a huge difference to a data scientist coming out of MIT and providing services at $300 to $400 an hour. And we see those as well. And so trying to treat them both the same way, is not taking the economy anywhere, because eventually, freelance jobs will just go overseas. And so I think that there are two pieces that are missing in how we're treating independent contractors and the legislation. And I had a few of these conversations with different elements within the government a few months back. We're missing one, which is what was the independent contractor's bargaining power? And again, if I'm a data scientist out of MIT, I probably have bargaining power. If I'm an Uber driver, one of 5 or 7 million, probably not so much. And so different protections are required. B, how much am I making compared to median wage at my state? And so again, if I'm making $10 an hour and it's below median wage, then yes, I do need some safety net, and there needs to be some timeline in which whoever I work for is taking care of my social benefits and maybe turning me into an employee. But if I'm making, 50% or twice the median wage, and this is how I want to run my life, then it doesn't make sense to try and push people into being an employee.
And so you think that this is just an eventuality, that we're going to be more accepting of people just kind of living this project lifestyle, that this is just going to be how business is done. And especially when you play in a global world that we're playing in, I mean, there's too many people in too many places that you can just hire as contract.
Yeah. I'm not sure I understood the question. Sorry.
But that this is an eventuality. It may not be today, but at some point in time, it's going to eventually break, and that this is going to be just accepted, that you're going to kind of disassociate the employer from the individual.
Adam Grant at Penn State said almost a year ago, I would say, he said, people don't actually work for companies anymore. People have a service they provide, and some people might want to rent it. And so we are seeing this trend happening. By the way, if you go back a century before the Great Recession, before the United States started forcing social benefits, this is how things work. I could provide a service. Back then it was more blue collar than not white collar, and you paid me for the service. I had to take care of my own social benefits, my health insurance, my savings, and so forth. I think there's a change. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to end up, but if I want to be a sole proprietor and I have faith in my abilities and I know how to create a business, then I should be able to do that. And it's okay if the government and federal will start saying, well, no problem, keep doing that. But we expect you to put money into Social Security. We expect you to do this, that, and the other, so you don't become a liability on citizens, within 5 years when something happens and your business crashes. I think that's completely fair, but it still doesn't negate that people have the right to be sole proprietors. I think we need to find the right way to make it happen and support the change and not try and stop the change.
Now, does your solution work best for international companies that do recruit kind of globally, or does it, work as well for the person that's in one state in America?
So most of our customers are using white collar or knowledge workers, just because they have higher propensity to adopt new technology and a change. To your point, change management. We do have customers that all their independent contractors are in the U.S. I don't know if they're all in the same state. I haven't checked that, but I'd say almost all of them are in the U.S. Obviously, it opens the door for them to go and hire talent worldwide without almost caring where they are, because we take care of all the back office, tax, legislation, payments, and you shouldn't care if you need to take someone to take the very basic thing, doing, design work for you, whether it's your website or your logo or whatever that is. Do you care if that person is in Cincinnati or Paris or Bangladesh?
No, you want the best talent, right?
You find the best talent for the price that you want to pay, and that can do it in the time that would drive best results for your business. And so it kind of opens it up for you to possibilities. Now, of course, there are changes, there's cultural differences, there are time zone differences. And so, but it gives you options. What works best for you now? In some cases, you'll insist on someone being, in the States in a similar time zone. In some cases, you'll say, I'd rather save, 30, 40, 50% and get someone in a low cost geography.
Now, are you kind of owning the relationship with the freelancer, or is it still the company that is interacting with them? Like, when do you come in to, like, say they want a raise or they want to, take a month off? Like, who is kind of arbitrating that?
So first of all, one of the prime rules of independent contracting means you don't control their time. So whether it's me or someone else, they shouldn't be asking for time off. They just make a decision. They take a time off. But to your question, we don't own the relationship. We're a management platform that helps you manage that workforce. Everything to do with how much you're paying them, when you're approving payment for them, are they on an hourly budget or a project-based delivery, how much work you're giving them, that's all directly between the company and the independent contractor. We actually add on top and tell you, best recommended, make sure that you have a set of legal documents on the platform that will verify they are getting signed, that you own IP at the end of the engagement. To the earlier example of a designer, you get someone to design work for you. You want to make sure that you own the IP. So someone's not going to claim one day, hey, I have stake in the company, I did some work for them. And so IP, non-compete, data protection, if you're giving them access to your data. And so all of that is between the company and the contractor. We are the management, the facilitating platform.
And if somebody wants to learn more, have a more substantive conversation with you or somebody on the team, what's the website?
Stoketalent.com. And we'd be happy to have a conversation.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Lee, thanks a lot for having me.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We'll see you all next time on High Velocity Radio.